Well, this week's going to be fun.
Hello everyone, welcome back to the channel. My name is Cooper of Cooper's Mobile Mechanics, and so far this week has been a very wet, horrible week. So I've actually already done 2 services today, but the rain's just been awful. So I've just been cracking on. I haven't done any filming, I've just been cracking on, getting on with the work. I'm now on my last job on Monday, which is a set of radius and pads on a Volkswagen Golf. So if you haven't seen my channel before, basically this is what I do is I like to film and show you what it's like being a mobile mechanic. So sometimes I'll show you a full week, sometimes I'll show you a full working day, sometimes I'll just show you one full job from start to finish. But this week I'm going to be showing you sort of a full week, or most of a week anyway, most of the jobs that I'm doing, just showing you what it's like being a mobile mechanic really. So if that's the sort of thing that you're interested in watching, please subscribe to keep up to date with more content like it. So this is the Mark 7 Golf that was serviced last week. I might send it on last week's episode if you watched it. If you haven't, go back and have a look. But it's one off service, and I just picked up the rear brake pads are low. So we're doing the rear disc and pads. The discs were just slightly below the minimum. So they look quite corroded now because of all the rain. But there is corrosion here on the inner face as well. So we're going to replace the rear disc and pads on this. Obviously the first thing I need to do is get the electronic parking brake back. Go through here, make sure the handbrake's turned off first, and hopefully you can hear the pistons winding back now. So they'll be going into the service position. That'll allow me to push the pistons back when doing the brake pad change. Alright, calipers off, pistons pushed back, absolutely fine. Caliper carrier off, disc off. And I'm just going to get a wire wheel, clean up all the hub, clean up the caliper carrier. That's where the brakes are going to be going on. Let's get rid of all of that rust and dirt and everything, so the brake pads can slide nicely backwards and forwards. New brakes are on. Nice and straightforward, these ones, to be fair. These are a little bit easier. There's some Mark 7 Golfs where sort of the caliper and carrier, they're very slightly different, sort of over this way a little bit, and some of them, the bolt for the caliper, they're really hard to get to because the brake barb is like right in the way. So you can't really get a socket in there. And also the caliper carrier, they're kind of slightly different. Again, I think the brakes are kind of over this way a little bit, so it's just harder to get to the bolts. Whereas this one is the more straightforward type. They've all got like a certain PR number, so like when you're buying brakes, you need to know exactly what PR number. It's like a code, like an identification code of what brakes are on it. For Volkswagens, there's probably about 3 or 4 different types. They might look the same, you might buy them and think they're the same, but they're actually slightly different. Well, now I just need to finish off the service function, so I just need to put the brake motors back to where they should be. Put the parking brake on. That should be all sorted. So I'll just take for a road test, just make sure everything's okay, and then that'll be me done. Right, so today hasn't exactly gone to plan. Work's gone a little bit quiet recently, to be fair. I only just had one car, had a couple of jobs to do on it, but it turns out, so I went to go and do the rear brakes on it. Turns out whoever worked on it previously, they've just completely over tightened every bolt on it. So originally just wanted rear pads doing, but when I got there I noticed the inner pad had gone completely metal to metal. The outer pad had loads left on it, just on the one side. So I thought, okay, I need to have a look at the caliper then, see if the calipers see what's going on there. But then when I went to take the caliper off, the bolts were just completely over tightened. Couldn't get them off, or just started to get one off, and the threads are starting to strip on it. So I've just said to him, look, I don't have the equipment. If they strip and cause more damage, it's going to be a big problem. I haven't got the equipment with me to sort it out. And what I don't want is just strip it all down, find there's an issue. It's an old Jeep as well, so getting parts for it is a bit of a nightmare. A lot of them are sort of dealer-only parts, or trying to find them online, and it's going to take days to get here, isn't it? So I think rather than just stripping it all down and then finding there's an issue and bolts have stripped or snapped or things like that, that would just mean the car's just going to be sat on axle stands for the next few days, which is going to be no help to him, no help to me. I said, look, it's probably better just go somewhere that have the equipment ready to go just in case anything like that happens. They can just sort it. Some of you might be thinking, well, why don't you just sort it, like it's your job or whatever. But I think I've learned over the last couple of years, I've learned that it's okay to say no to some jobs. You don't have to take everything on. If you think just a simple brake job, which you're not really going to be earning that much money from it, are you? It's not a big earner. If a simple job like that is going to just end up being a complete nightmare and a headache, like, is it really worth it? Sometimes it's not. Sometimes it's just better just to say no, turn the work down, just lose out on a little bit of money for the day, just save you that headache, to be honest. So instead, what I'm going to do today is get rid of some of this scrap. Just all the parts over the last sort of few weeks, couple of months building up. Got brake discs there, got some batteries to get rid of. So that's just been building up in the back garden for a little while. Obviously it's a bit of an eyesore, isn't it? It's not very nice having it in the garden, so yeah, might as well spend the morning today just getting rid of all of that stuff. See if I can earn myself 20 quid or whatever is going to be in that pile. Well, Wednesday morning, I've got a timing chain to do on this Mini. This is the N18 engine. The customer's complaining of a really bad rattle. I think it's been rattling a little bit for a little while, but he said the other weekend he started up and it's really, really noisy. I started this morning, you can hear it really rattling quite loudly. I'm not going to start it up now to show you, just because the customer, he's gone on a little bit. He doesn't want to run it too much, to be fair. What I've said to him is quite often the plastic guides on the chain, they break up. They can do. So I said what I'll do, I've basically given him sort of two prices, what it may be. One just for a straightforward timing chain replacement, but I said if the guides have all broken up, bits of plastic, they'll end up going down into the sump, so then I'll have to take the sump off and fish all those out, basically. So he's aware of what it may be. As usual, I'm just going to start off by reading the fault memory, and there's no faults in there, so now I know they've got a sort of clear slate to start with. Once I've done the job, if I run it up, check the fault memory after, and there's faults in there, then now I know that it's something potentially that I've done, either left something loose, like a wiring connector, something like that. So I'm going to start by draining the oil, because we're going to be doing an oil and filter change anyway, regardless of whether the sump comes off or not. So I'm going to drain the oil, get the filter cracks off, and then while that's draining, start getting everything off. So I want to get this bit off here, to give me enough room to work with. I have to get this pipe underneath, I'll have to get that off and out of the way. Rocker cover needs to come off, so any wiring, pipes at work and everything going to it will need to come out, coils out the way. Right, timing cover's off, auxiliary belt and everything's off. Got it locked up, so I've got it locked in the cams here, crankshaft, got a pin going into the flywheel to lock that up. So I just need to get the engine mount, the rest of the engine mount off, get this bit of the engine mount off, and then I can take the tensioner off, get these sprockets off and get the tensioner out. Right, so I've got you've got the guides there and there, so I've got the tensioner out, bolts for the guides are all out, and the bottom crankshaft bolt is out. What I always do is just get something just to hold the chain up here, because if you let go, it will drop down into the engine. So I've just got it held up here, and then I should be able to just pull the chain up with the guides all together. I'll need two hands to do that. So these are the plastic guides that tend to break up, but looking around, they're actually looking okay. So you've got a top rail there, again that's got a plastic bit on here, they tend to break up, and then all the bits here tend to break apart, and that's what usually causes the chain to rattle around. This is all looking okay. What I did notice when I took the tensioner out, or when I was timing it up, the tensioner was kind of stuck, and then like a little tap and it sprung back out. I think it's more down that the tensioner was failing on this rather than the guides breaking up. I don't actually know what I've done with the tensioner, to be fair, to show you, but yeah, so basically now just need to get the new chain. All the guides have it all like this, so you kind of kind of assemble it all together like that with the bottom sprocket and everything, and then again just slip it down into the engine. So we've got a Febby timing chain kit which comes with all the guides and the sprocket and crankshaft bottom tensioner, and then I just had to go to BMW to get a couple more of the bolts. So I've got the 3 bolts to hold the plastic guides in, so there and there, and then I've got the 2 new crankshaft sprocket bolts as well. Right, everything's all back in place. Guides, tensioner, camshaft sprocket, crankshaft sprocket, they're all torqued up. I've turned the engine over a couple of times, checked the timing, that's all good. So it's really just a case of now putting it all back together in reverse order. Obviously I've got a new rocker cover gasket to put on, got a new auxiliary belt to put on. Yeah, after that just fill it full of oil and hopefully it runs. Well, that's all done. Check the fault memory. Again, there's no faults in there still, which is good. I tried to film as much as I could, but to be honest with you, it's been pouring down with rain today. I've got my gazebo up, so it's just been one of those jobs where I was just kind of want to crack on and get it done. But yeah, it's sounding much better now. It was quite, like I say, I didn't want to run it up for you this morning just because it was sounding pretty bad. Yeah, it's all good. Right, it's Friday, last job of the week. Got this Volkswagen Passat from last week. You may have seen last week's video, so I've just got to put the old Mechatronics unit back in because that's been repaired at ECU testing. So the minute I've just taken out the old filter, I'm going to put the new filter in, and then I'll go ahead and put the Mechatronics unit in with the sump, fill it all full of oil, and then possibly adapt it, maybe not. ECU testing say that if they've repaired it and you put the old unit back in, they say you don't need to readapt it after, but we'll see. Changed the filter, and I've also put a new drain plug in there. Still got the old one at the bottom, because I've got the Mechatronics in, which I'm going to do next, get them all bolted and torqued in, get the sump on, and then I'm going to fill it with oil. So you fill it through the drain plug. So there's no point putting the new plug in with seal just yet. And then once I've filled it, checked the level after, then I'll put the new plug in, and then see if it drives or see if it needs the basic settings and adaptation being done. Right, so the Mechatronics and everything's in, sump's back on. Now it's just time to fill up the oil. So I've got my pipe that goes down to the drain plug down there, and then up top I'll connect this end to the bottle, and then what I usually do is, so you screw that onto the bottle, flip the bottle upside down, and I'll squeeze the bottle to sort of force the oil down, and then get a Stanley knife and cut a slit at the top of the bottle to allow air to go in, and that will then continue the flow of the oil. I find that's the best way to fill these. So I've got 7 litres to put in. The capacity for this box, the initial fill-in is 6.9. It says if you're just doing a standard DSG oil change, you put 6 in. Because everything's been out, Mechatronics and everything's been out, I'm going to put 7 litres in, and then that should be bang on. Right, so that's all done. I've just filled the oil up, checked the fluid level, and then, like I say, ECU testing, they say you don't need to adapt the Mechatronics after you've refit the old unit if it's just been repaired. I did have to adapt it, which wasn't a problem, to be fair. It just didn't take long to do. I'll just quickly show you how I did it. So what they say to do, there's a bit of a prerequisite, is to start the car, put it straight into drive, and then into manual mode, and then put it straight back into park. You've got to leave your foot on the brake pedal the whole time, and then if you go into basic settings here, and then basic settings of transmission, just press start there, and then you just sit here with the brake pedal still pressed, and it just goes through it. You sort of notice some quite horrible sounds coming from the gearbox, but that's just it, sort of finding the right position. It took a couple of attempts. It does say, ECU testing are really good actually. They send you a link. Well, they send you 2 documents actually. One, they send you a YouTube video just showing you how to reinstall it, and then they also send you a PDF file just listing off Again, how to install it, all your torque settings, how to check the oil level, and then how to go through the basic settings. And it does say on there that it can take a few attempts. So the first one I did, it ran through it, said it was active, and then it stopped and said stopped due to reasons of safety. But then I just pressed stop, went out of it, double check. You've got to have no faults in the system. Check the fault memory. There was no faults in there, so they just went back into it. Tried it again, did that a couple of times, and then it just went through absolutely fine. And then I've just been for a drive now. I've probably done about 10 miles so far. It's going into every gear absolutely fine. It's going into reverse absolutely fine. But yeah, it's all good. Really impressed with ECU testing, actually. That's the second time I've sort of had any dealings with them. And you know what? I was really impressed. So I removed this last Friday. He sent it that afternoon. So sent it on the Friday afternoon. He then got a phone call on Monday, I think it was, Monday afternoon, just to say, yeah, or Monday morning to say, yeah, we've received it. Then he got a phone call, maybe Tuesday, I think it was, to say, we've stripped it all down. They basically tell you if it's repairable or not. So they'll strip it down, they'll let you know. If it is repairable, they'll say, yeah, we can repair it, and it's going to cost however much. Or if it's not repairable and it needs a new unit, then I think you just pay like a £50 fee just for them to strip it down and test it. So they phoned him up on the Tuesday to say, yeah, it's repairable. Are you happy for us to go ahead? He said, yeah. And then I think they sent it out later on that day. So he received it Wednesday or Thursday, got it back. So then I just came back today to refit it. So overall, for him sending it and then them sending it back, it was about 4 or 5 days, including a weekend. Yeah, I think that's really good. I'm impressed with that, to be honest. But that is the end of the video. That's the end of my working week. It's been a really short week, actually. So Tuesday, I was supposed to have some work to do, but then ended up not doing the job. So then I just went out, had a load of scrap and old batteries, brake discs, things like that. So I just took those to the scrapyard. I got rid of those. Thursday, I didn't work. So it's just been a three-day week this week. So hopefully I've managed to get enough content on there to make this video interesting. If it hasn't been interesting, if there's not been enough there, then I apologise. I'll make sure there's a bit more for next week. But if it has been interesting, if it's been good, please like, comment, subscribe, share it around with your friends and family, let them know about me. And yeah, thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you on the next one.